Welcome to the Board Wrap-Up Show. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. It is our monthly sit-down discussion with the superintendent of Ponca City Public Schools, Shelley Arrott. And on this edition of the Board Wrap-Up Show, we have plenty of things to talk about. Superintendent Arrott, thank you for joining us once again.
Always a pleasure, Sean.
This show is really an opportunity for you to get a better understanding of the goings-ons from the Ponca City Public Schools and in the board meeting and what's discussed and what's happening as Ponca City Public Schools continues to move through this school year. And the Employee of the Month and Friend of Education Awards, this is something that Ponca City Public Schools, you've really made important, and it's right at the top of the list here.
It is important. You always have to build relationships with your employees, and sometimes we get so busy that we don't tell them how much we appreciate them. So I want to recognize the employees that we recognize at our board meeting. Our Certified Employee of the Month was Megan Stafford, and she is a pre-K teacher at the Pre-K Center, obviously. Been with the district a long time, goes above and beyond, does whatever she can do to help her peers, her students, and support her parents too. Our Support Employee of the Month was Lori Bruder, and she's a Title I TA at West Middle School. And what she does is she works in intervention groups for students who may be lacking a specific skill. She's very good. She commits her heart and soul to those students at West, and we appreciate her. And then our Friend of Education was the Contractor Safety Alliance Group from Phillips 66. And the reason they were selected is they have been instrumental with our FOR club, which is our Friends of Rachel's club that we have at the high school. And the purpose of that club is to create an environment that is less conducive to or susceptible to harassment, bullying, and to develop a positive school culture. So it's really an important group.
It is a fantastic group. It really is. Well, coming up on Friday, it is the Wildcat Sports Winter Bash at Robson Fieldhouse. And you may be watching this after November 17th. If that's the case, it happened on the 17th. But a wonderful opportunity for you to support Wildcat sports and the basketball teams, the swimming team, the wrestling team, the cheer squad, the high steppers, and of course, the band, and a wonderful opportunity for you to see the wonderful improvements to Robson Fieldhouse. And part of the school board meeting the other night was a presentation, Pohai boys and girls basketball presentation. Tell us about this. This is pretty cool.
Well, you know, Sean, we are now having students come in at every board meeting and give a 3 to 5 minute presentation. It's a good connection for our board, and then it's also a way to get the good news out about whatever those students are doing. So we had our boys and girls basketball coaches, Jody Fincher and Keenan Curry, and 3 or 4 of their players, their upperclassmen, come and speak to the board about the impact the incredible renovations are to them personally as a team and how they promote school spirit. So the kids did a great job of speaking to the board, but speaking of the Winter Bash, it's going to be a great opportunity, and it's going to be our public's first view of our incredible renovations to Robson Fieldhouse. We're actually going to open up the wrestling room, and we have done some beautiful renovations to the wrestling room, so the public will get to view that. And then I think if they want to, we're going to let our public go out the side door and maybe tour the press box.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's going to be a great night for Wildcat athletics and extracurricular activities, and to show off our facilities.
Yeah, and it is incredibly impressive. By the way, again, the Wildcat Winter Sports Bash coming up Friday the 17th at 6 p.m. Robson Fieldhouse. It is a free event, and it is followed by a basketball scrimmage. And again, if you're watching this after the 17th, that's old news, but certainly want to give you that information here on the Board Wrap-Up Show. Brett Smith, safety presentation during the board meeting, and this is an ongoing effort, and there have been a lot of achievements.
We do a safety report once a year for our board. You're exactly right. Security and safety of our students and our staff are top priority, and you never arrive with safety achievements. It's ongoing. You always progress. And some of the achievements that we have accomplished thus far is we have security entrances and lobby guards at every site with the exception of the pre-K center, and that's scheduled to be done this summer, the summer of 18. So our doors are all locked. Anyone who comes in the building has to either scan their school ID if they're a school employee or their driver's license if they're an outside guest. We have camera systems installed at all sites. We do need to upgrade. As with any technology, things become obsolete and there are advancements. We do have SRO officers in our district. We have one at the high school, and then we have one that splits time between east and west. And if they're needed at any of our elementary sites, they're there to serve any purpose or any request we have. They're great to work with. And we have Officer Pruitt and Officer Welch, and they are wonderful. And they're a good liaison for us in the police department. At the secondary sites, we also have security guards. At Poe High particular, we have a live person that lets people in and out of the front door. It's our only door that's open at this time, with the exception of the Howe Auditorium building to the Fine Arts. And right now, we're currently building a corridor and a little courtyard. It'll be a gated area where no one can come in or out. So that'll even protect our students even more.
Fantastic. Well, in this monthly board meeting, the November Ponca City Public Schools Board of Education meeting, a report was discussed. And it's one of those reports that as a superintendent, it's not always a fun report to get. However, you are seeing some positive information or drawing some positive out of the report, and there's also an alternative education plan in place to help keep these numbers moving in the right direction. Can you share us information about the annual Dropout Report?
We're required by law to share that information in a public meeting, and we want to share it because we want to be transparent, and plus we've had so many improvements. We did a comparison of our dropout rate from 2017 back to 2012, and I'll tell you, for 2017 we indicate our dropouts from the high school, our alternative programs, which are Teen Pep, Wildcat Academy, and the SHARE program that we do with Pioneer Technology, and dropouts from East and West. Now, a couple of things I want to clarify. If we have a dropout from East or West, it's typically because the student has left the district to go to another district, and another district did not request records. And we try to locate that student and find out where they're going to school, but if we can't, that counts on our dropout report. So let me tell you just a little bit about 2017. We had 4 dropouts from the high school and 3 from the alternative school. And also, that plays into effect with our high school and our alternative school. If a student moves to another district and we do not receive a request for records and we cannot locate where that student is now enrolled, that counts on our dropout rate. And even though that we had 7 total, if you look back to 2013 at Poe High, we had 27 alone. Wow. So I want to tell you why we're hypothesizing the improvements might be. We're building stronger relationships with our parents and our students in the fact that at the high school, we have a counselor and a principal assigned to students by the last name, their alphabet. They're by alphabet. Mm-hmm. So each counselor and each assistant principal stays with a student their entire 4 years. Wow. And that helps keep them on track with their graduation progress. You build a relationship with the parents. You can reach out to them. You know where they stand in regard to graduation. So that's made a huge impact, I think. We now update our DNF list every 3 weeks, and that keeps our teachers informed. It keeps our parents informed. So we've done a lot to make progress in that area. And then another thing that we've done is since 2013 has developed a process on record keeping. We diligently look for those students who have left the district that we have not had a request for records for. So great improvement.
That is a dramatic improvement.
It has been. We're proud of it.
It really is. Well, the board took action on setting a time for Board of Education meetings. What was that all about?
Well, we have to do this every year, and typically our meetings are on the second Monday of every month, and they will continue to be that way this next school year. We did make one alteration the month of July due to Independence Day, timing, the holiday, preparing the board agenda, and posting the board
Sure.
agenda. It will be the third Monday, which is July 16th.
All right.
So we'll keep the public informed.
Very good. Accepting bids for some more projects and some more improvements now. As we all know, the beautiful press box, the improvements to Robson Fieldhouse, and the weight room, and so many others. And now we're talking about accepting bids for the Bohai football dressing room and West Middle School remodel.
Bids are in for
Okay.
the football dressing room and the West Middle School remodel, and the board just had to accept those bids, and we're going to start shortly on those projects at West. Obviously, we'll work around students, and it's safe to do so. We'll take all safety precautions. We're remodeling some restrooms, so some of our restrooms will not be available while they're being remodeled, and we're remodeling the counseling offices at West, and we're replacing flooring, and then we are about to begin the construction on our new football dressing room, which is just going to be the east of the east goalpost.
Right.
So,
Very good. And at this meeting, this is something interesting, exciting.
This is
and,
exciting.
The board took action on a licensing agreement between Ponca City Public Schools and the city of Ponca City, and Superintendent Shelley Arrott. What does this mean, and what is this all about?
well, we rebranded in the spring of last year. We have specific red and navy colors with a specific formula. We have our school logo, we have a team mascot, and there's 4 logos. Our team mascot is the little Wildcat head that looks pretty modern,
Right.
red and navy.
Oh, yeah.
Chief Bohan reached out to me, and the city would like to use the mascot head just on the front fender of the driver's side door on their police cars. They're going to be
wow.
doing some restriping, and he sent me a picture of one photoshopped in, and it looks amazing. And I think it will be a great way to build continuity between school and community. So watch for that Wildcat on the police cars.
That is exciting.
It is exciting.
That is very cool. Well, the Board of Education also took action on an agreement with 2 companies for professional development. What is this all about?
Well, I'll have to tell you, there's so many things that I'm proud about that Ponca City Public Schools does. But one thing that I am really proud of is the professional development that we provide our teachers, because unequivocally, the teacher has the biggest impact on student success. So we're bringing in Kagan Cooperative Learning, and that is a methodology that encourages communication, cooperation, problem-solving skills, where students are really working in a group. Each student has a role, so they just can't sit back and be disengaged and tune out the lesson or whatever. So it's great for our new standard requirements and requiring our students to think at higher levels, more critically. And then we have the Payne Education Center coming in, doing 5 days of training for every single one of our second grade teachers. And basically, this is a structured language basics unit. They send manipulatives, so students are actually manipulating the content. It's systematic, sequential, so if there are learning gaps in the area of phonics or reading, then we're filling all those holes. In fact, they're training upstairs as we speak. Day 1 is, or today is day 2, I do believe.
Wow.
So there's 5 days. They're spread out, not
Yeah.
5 days out of the classroom all at once. So
Well, and at that point in the Board of Education meeting for November, you broke into executive session. During that time in executive session, voted on 2 items were discussed. And did you voted on these 2 items?
well, we discussed everything that was listed on our agenda in executive session, but our board can only vote in open session. So there were 2 items that needed to be voted upon in open session as we came out of executive session. And the first item was that they had to vote whether or not to give me the authority to enter into a settlement agreement on our tax miscalculation lawsuit. And our public, and you probably remember that Dr. Pennington researched this issue for years.
Yeah.
And it come to find out there was a tax miscalculation regarding business and agriculture tax for the last 22 years. In 2014, the State Department did recognize and readjust that there was a miscalculation, and the disadvantaged schools received the compensation. So the lawsuit was in regard to going back and recovering the previous 22 years that we didn't get the compensation. And the plaintiffs and the defendants in the case, which were Ponca City was a plaintiff, had to request authority to their board to enter into a settlement agreement. We did mediate with the defendants on November 1, but since we don't have an assigned agreement, I cannot discuss the terms. So I'll be glad to discuss that more once we have a signed agreement.
All right.
So,
well, that's promising.
it is.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Board Wrap-Up Show. It's our monthly visit with Superintendent of Ponca City Public Schools, Shelley Arrott, and it keeps you informed and keeps you connected to Ponca City Public Schools. Fantastic website, Superintendent Arrott, that really I hope a lot of folks are getting connected with Ponca City Public Schools via the new website, the social media platforms. You're really doing a good job, you and the staff, of really keeping that up to date.
We are. One of our immediate goals is to promote a positive culture, school spirit. Times are tough in education right now, and we want to build continuity with our staff so that they can build positive relationships and have a positive learning environment for their students. Teacher shortage is real. We want to keep and retain our teachers and provide them the professional development required to improve learning for all students. So we're trying to get the good news out there and promote Ponca City, and we appreciate our community for working with us on this endeavor.
Absolutely. Be sure to like Ponca City Public Schools on Facebook. You can follow Ponca City Public Schools on Twitter. You can also get the new Ponca City Public Schools app, and you can stay connected. And we appreciate you watching. For Superintendent Arrott, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Sean.
I'm Sean Anderson, your host of the Board Wrap-Up Show. Until next time, thank you for watching.